when I asked my uncles to go there to do the Lobola negotiations, they were chased like evil spirits. Yeah, we were the evil spirits. Yeah. I told my woman what had happened, and she's like, yo, I'm sorry. I'm like, don't ever, whatever you do, don't ever bring my child here. Yeah, her body was placed under the rubble, and the way it was placed, it was awkwardly placed, like something was being done to her.
Welcome to the Safe Space Cast podcast with Madam Speaker. My name is Perseverance Maremeni, also known as Madam Speaker, also known as the CEO of Self-Love. If you're joining for the first time, welcome to the family of healing, self-love, and motivation. And if you're returning, thank you so much for the continuous love and support that you are showing us. We have a handsome guest next to us, and our guest is going to introduce himself, and we'll go straight into the episode of today. My brother?
Sanbonan. My name is Andile Chazbani, I was born in Lento Epara and then grew up at Pimvo, Orlando. And then life was an oyster. I mean, growing up for us was just like amazing. Like we would smile and, whatever we wanted would just, happen. We were one of those kids. Whenever like it's weekends, we were wearing our Sunday pasties, we'd always be called Bapega Malebo. So our life was just good.
Yeah.
Until 95.
Sure.
95, my father passed away and life changed drastically because my father had this thing, Yoguti, he doesn't want my mom to work.
Okay.
He was like, he even told my grandfather, when my grandfather was like, no, I have this job for my child. He's like, no, we don't need that. She's taken care of. So because we were young and we were used to this life, me and my brother, we were still expecting, to get whatever we wanted.
Yeah.
But now what we didn't realize was that my mother, for her to fill my father's shoes, she had to work 10 times, and it even forced her to even go to work even when she was ill. And then when me and my brother realized over time, we're going to lose this. We're going to lose her. That's when we had to step up, and we tried everything. I mean, from barbershops to breeding dogs, like we tried everything. And the funny thing is, in our lives, the most common thing that was our visitor was exploitation because we did great things, but we didn't know how to charge. We would do great events. And then when we had to charge, we couldn't. So up until we lost a dear friend, through culpable homicide, I think it was like 16 years old, Lucihle. That's when we realized that, life waits for no man, time waits for no man, actually.
Yeah.
That's when we found some lady, and then this lady, because we used to sketch, designs and all that.
Yeah.
So when we found this lady, what she did, she just showed us on the page, guys, this is a sleeve.
Okay.
This is your pens, this is how you, on the page. And then after that, we were on our own. Then my mother had to go and full on say, what's this? Davidson. Then when she got there, because she brought one machine. So we are siblings, me and my brother. So we would always, be fighting for that machine. My mom was like, okay, wait. Last I checked, in Davidson, there's another machine, but it's the old school machine.
Yeah.
So when she brought it back, we were excited. But the sad thing is that we didn't know how to thread the machine.
Yeah.
So we had to, again, go back to the lady, ask her, and those machines were heavy. They look small, but super heavy.
Yeah.
So she showed us how to thread them. We came back, we excited. Then we started learning how to sew. And now in learning how to sew, remember I said now life is like really bad.
Yeah.
And Masa Pegile, my mom, loses the job because she used to stand up for everyone in Sebenzini. Yeah. And the people that were there, they didn't like being challenged like she used to,
Yeah.
And then the biggest mistake she did was to get an operation in Mapanyons. When she did that operation, they used it against her because she was supposed to stay home for 12?
I think 3 months.
3 months, yes. Now, when she had to stay home, they told her, if you do not come back, you will be fired. So she had to go back.
Even when she's not healed.
Condition. Yeah. And then when she would limp, they would give her routine warnings which clients are complaining, and my mom saw, which, you know what, I see what you're trying to do. And then she decided to just, yes. And then when she did that, that's when, things were really bad. You see, like the Sunday bestie clothes the one bestie clothes that you would wear to go check out your girl, it would be the same one that you would wear. So me and my brother, we were like, you know what, Mfethu, we have these pens that we love, and the only way for us to be is for us to actually make sure that we make a pattern out of them. He looks at me, I look at him, and he's like, so what do you say? I'm like, let's do it.
Yeah.
We undid the pens, not knowing that something big was about to happen, and we cut the patterns. And deep down inside now, you're asking yourself, I just undid the zip, and I don't remember how.
Yeah.
How am I going to put this back? But with God's grace,
Yeah.
we were done. He looks at me, I look at him, he says, try them on. I'm like, no, you try them on. And then we tried them on. I did, and he did as well. We looked out of this world.
Yeah.
That's when we knew that our prayers had been answered. From that day, our brand was born, FBX Group. That's when people started taking notice, because we were known, we would see, these guys by a Foster. 2 minutes it was music, and then it was this.
You're trying
it was
out
that,
everything.
You know? Now, the fashion, we started now getting more attention. We started getting different clientele.
Yeah.
And through that fashion, we started now being able to help around the house, you know?
Yeah.
And fast forward, there was now this, there was this woman that we are about to talk about, umuntu wami.
Yeah.
So back then, to me, she was just like, you know, she'll grow up, she'll be fine, you know, like, because we were still finding ourselves, we were all young. And then this one time, she disappeared for a very long time. She comes back, she's like, everyone wants her, you know. I did, but I didn't want to show it, because we had to act cool.
Yeah.
So that's when my friends would always tease me and say, if you don't go, we'll go. We'll take it. We tell you, serious nas. Then there was another one, but to Jeremiah. Jeremiah had a lisp. He would say, Kim, I swear, I'll take it. You know, and every time they would make moves on her, she would always look at me like, really?
Is it really?
Up until I was like, you know what, I can't, you know, act cool anymore. Let me just make the move. I did, but how she made me feel was just scary, because I had never felt that. I've been around, you know, but with her, it was just so amazing. Even with her, she couldn't even express it, because at one point she's like, listen, you saying we are a thing, but you've never actually can you know, do the right
You
thing?
never shot your shot.
You know what I'm saying? And then she's like, because you'll be bragging to your friends that I didn't have to share her.
Yeah.
Now she's mine. So putting me on the spot, I aced it, and we were one. And the first year was beautiful. It was, it was amazing. Like wherever I was, she was there. Like she was my ride or die. She was my Bonnie and Clyde. Second year, the family was like, we thought that this was just going to be like, you know, a fling, and you guys are getting serious. What's going on, you know?
Yeah.
And then they started now cross-questioning me, asking me questions like, what are your intentions? And I'm like thinking, you know, you're putting me under pressure for something I want to do, because I can feel it in my bones that she's my one, you know? And then me having to express now, it's like now they're putting pressure. It's like someone putting a gun on something that you obviously want to do, you're going to do, you know?
Yeah.
And then, things were nice up until, you know, they felt that, you know, as a businessman, our business was still in its beginning stages. So the mom and the aunt, in their heads, what they wanted was a self-made man who has already made it with the car.
They had
with
those
the house.
expectations.
They had those expectations. So they didn't want someone who's starting and who's getting there, you know, organically, because there were deals that would come. But me and my brother, we want to retain everything in terms of our brand, our company, because we want to leave a legacy. So if somebody comes and says, I want 40%, like there's this other guy who came, he's like to us, I love your brand, I love everything about you, I want 40%. Me and my brother were like, 40% is a lot. And then he's like, no, okay. He said, is it 40?
Yeah, he wanted 40%.
40, yeah. Now, when he wanted the 40, he says to us, I'll give you 100K. Imagine we broke.
Yeah.
Like broke.
Yeah.
We're still using those machines, but the things we were, the stuff that we were sewing, it was ahead of the you know, machine. So he says, I'll give you 100K, I'll give you a van, I'll brand it, and I'll give you
25,000 for you to go to
Cape Town.
Cape Town just for vacation.
Yes. he made it so nice that we were like, yo, you know what? We'll get back to you. We went to all of our friends, all of them like, it's a good deal. Until we met this one guy, but Baba Makati is no more now. Baba Makati, he was one guy who he's like the straight kind of guys, like he doesn't beat around the bush. Immediately when he sees me and my brother, he's like, I wonder what you're going to lie to me about. You know, we laugh, we sit down, we tell him about the deal. This guy said to us, guys, are you stupid or what? We're like, what do you mean? He says, first and foremost, I've seen what you can do. Within 3 months, the 100,000s of you know what I'm saying? The next 6 months, the car, you would have covered it. You know, like he made the whole math, within a year, we were going to cover the things of this guy and then we were going to stay with him forever. Yeah. He says to us, if this guy is for real, go back to him and tell him that we can only take the deal we can give you 10% and still accept what you're bringing.
Everything else, yeah.
When we said that to that guy, he's like, what? Listen, have you ever seen when you give a donkey a carrot and then it spits on your face? It stands up and says, good luck with your struggle.
Wow.
He walks away. We were broken thinking, no, I will never rise ever again. So now we're going to bigger things. She's still with me, my woman, and she came back to me. She's like, baby, at school they want metric jackets. So she was like we were like Bonnie and Clyde, and there's my brother there in the mix. Like we were just pushing. She was like the mouthpiece. We were the force in the background, and at the same time, things were just happening. It was just beautiful, and I thought that by showing my love to Ulolo, I have to mention her. Yeah. By me showing her my love, maybe the family would change, how they treat me.
Because they can see your intentions,
But it never changed anything, And then what they didn't understand is that at one point we wanted to go to, at that time I was still drinking. So we felt like we needed meat. So we wanted to go to Zone 6 to buy that meat. So we meet one of our friends. She wants to commit suicide. So we busy calming her down. We're telling her, hey, you can't do this and whatnot. Yeah. From nowhere, 8 guys come. They were armed to the teeth. Sure. I'm the only one who sees them because I'm looking this way. Everyone, they looking at me. I tell everyone, good day, look, And when they turned around, these guys start shooting. Sure. The guys left all the women. I tried to pull my woman, she froze. So I had to pick her up. So I'm thinking, if I pick her up like this, her head will be showing the side, her legs. I was like, you know what, let me pick her up like this. So we running, I'm hearing bullets behind me. As soon as we got to our side, it was Zone 5. That's when the guys stopped because they saw why are these guys running? And then when they get to this part, they stop. And then when we got home, she looks at me. I'm like, what's wrong? Are you okay? She's like, no, I'm okay. Then she says to me, you really love me. I'm like, why? She says, you put your life on the line for me. So small things like that, it made us, grow more closer. Yeah. But now, the more we grew closer, the family didn't like it. So they did everything. And then the good Lord blessed us with the child. In fact, she was pregnant. Yeah. So when she was pregnant, they put her through stress, and then when they put her through that stress, she miscarried. And when she miscarried, they used ancestors. It's a sign, my daughter. This child, this litebelele. You see litebelele? I didn't even know litebelele. I'm like, man, I'm Xhosa. Now you're calling me litebele. Yeah. So she got scared because one thing about her, from birth, she has been lied to, maybe I'll get to that part, but she wanted to connect with her heritage. So when they speak about Madlozis, the culture and whatnot, so she wants to honor that just to try to find some sort of stability, So immediately right there, when she was supposed to dump me, because she was told to dump me, she's like, baby, I'm like, what? You can't even look me in the eyes. What's up? The aunt comes out and says, listen, dude, it's over. She pulls her inside the house. She bangs the door. And I'm standing there. I'm like, wow. This is wow. Okay.
But obviously you can tell that it's not her who's deciding.
Yeah. And then they started now hooking her up with doctors, all these prominent men, And then she would always send me SMSs. She would send me number plates. She would, because little did they know, behind their backs, we were still one, But like Ekasi, they thought that we were not seeing each other, until she stopped answering her phone. And one thing about me and her is that whatever happens to her, it also happens to me. When she would have like your morning sicknesses, like I'm sitting with my brother, next thing I stand up, I vomit, I come back, and I see her face. I call her, baby, are you okay? No, I just vomit. I'm like, no, me too, so that's how
connected
we
you
were,
are,
So even when that happened.
These things actually happen in real life.
It does.
Wow.
Even with me, she would tell me and my brother that, guys, don't go to that deal. We would go, and then she'd be like, and then when we come back, she would just look at our faces and say, don't say anything.
I know.
Somebody said to me, you really loved your woman. Like, throughout the time you were going out with her, you've never cheated on her. I'm like, dude, I would be in situations whereby I'd see myself, doing it. But before I would even attempt to, a call would just ring. How are you? Are you okay? Please don't even think about that. Just know I love you.
Yeah.
But the choice is yours, and then she would hang up. That's how it was every time. Every time. So, you know what? There's nothing I can do. But because God has already shown me, you know what, this is the one. And then when she didn't answer that week, I was like, man, no, something is wrong. And then eventually she answered. She said, the only thing she said to me was, baby, can you please come? And then when I got there, imagine you don't see a person for like 2-3 weeks, and then you get to, when you see her, she has gained weight drastically. And then the place is just not, it looks like it hasn't been cleaned. And her eyes, you can see, they're swollen. I'm like, what's up? She just hugged me and said, I'm sorry. Okay, no, okay, yeah, I forgive you. What's up? Then she tells me, look, I got raped.
Sure.
And I'm sorry. Can we start over? In her head, she thought that I was just saying yes, just to
make her feel better, maybe.
Yeah, I understand. Yeah. But I meant it because I wanted to be with her. So the first thing I did was make sure I bring her back home, make her feel safe. And then she was always complaining, I'm fat, I'm this, I'm ugly. I would say, you know what? Instead of you complaining, at the time I was lifting weights, I wanted to compete and whatnot. So doing cardio for me was just like, cardio, no, I don't want to lose it. I want to be bigger. So because of her, I was like, you know what? Let me just, help her. Within a month or so, she was back to a normal size. Everything was okay. And then we started from where...
Pick up where you left off.
Yes.
Unless if they build a mall. Yeah.
So, yeah, we did that. And the family, they were not happy.
Yeah.
They were still not happy. Even when I went to them and I told them, look, man, something is... I didn't want to tell them straight. I was like, look, your daughter needs you guys. She needs your support. It would look like they are hearing me, but you could tell that, it didn't faze them. Like there were many incidents that happened, and I'd come back to them and say, look, your daughter is going through this. Can you please be of assistance? So I ended up, me and my family, having to be that support for her. And she would be more,
lean towards your family.
You know what I'm saying? So when she did that, it created other things on her family.
Yeah.
And then, she went back. Her family, Did she go back? Ne?
Yes, she did.
Yeah, she did. Now, when she went back, it was okay again, but still they did not, they did not accept me. So what they would normally do is they would only accept me when they needed, manpower. You pick this up.
You are their spanner boy.
Yeah, that plug. You see that plug? You see, plus they talk like this. You see that plug?
That's how they talk.
So, we're like afraid, because there's sparks coming, from that. So,
So you're the handyman.
I was the handyman, and my brother would be like, I'm fine. My
but
brother,
for your woman, you do it.
But now I earned a name from my brother. He used to call me Sbal Makoti, So, yeah. But I loved her. I mean, even when
I'm sure he used to say back Glisil. They even put a plastic.
Thank you.
Yo.
So
why are you so quiet now, my brother? You said that, ne?
I didn't.
You didn't.
I didn't say it.
So soon after that, from nowhere they went to church. They come back, and then when they came back, we greet them, they just look at us. The mom sits directly in front of me. And then the sister goes to my woman and says, "What? Asopere?" She's like, "No, I'm done. I'm just, doing my final touch-ups and whatnot." And then there's an altercation of some sort, Lapo, and then from nowhere, she slaps my woman. I try to stand up. I was told, "Sit down or else I'll scream rape."
Ha.
Like, oh my God, okay. So I don't know whether they wanted a reaction from me or what. So I'm sitting and then I'm looking at them talking, and then every time she tries to answer, she gets slapped again. She's like, "No, I respect you, but I don't understand why I'm being beaten." And I'm like, okay, what did I do? I mean, food is ready, And this person who's doing this, she's wearing church clothes. And then my woman was like, "You know what? I've lost my respect. You know what? It's on. Let's get it on then." And then instead of her getting on, she went to the bedroom, came with her clothes. She wanted to embarrass her by throwing them outside. You see, the dumbest thing I did was I loved convenience. So I did not go anywhere. I just went front opposite, So my woman lived front opposite my house.
Ha.
Yeah.
So you were dwelling next door.
Opposite.
Front opposite. Yeah. I wanted
Wow.
our factory is at my
No,
house.
Mara, we're not judging you.
Yeah.
Mara, wow.
So her trying to do that, I was like, okay, no, we'll just take the clothes. Just, cross the road, and then, Then she lived with me and my family. And then a few months later, my son was conceived. But now my son was smart this time. When she was 3 months, Lento, her belly was still flat. So at first we would go to, I think it's Mfulo Clinic. At Mfulo Clinic, they're like, no, there's no baby. Oh yeah, there is a baby, but you're actually 1 month pregnant. And I actually told my woman when it happened, "Hey, when are you pregnant?" And she didn't believe me, And then up until when we went there on that 3rd month, they're like, "No, we can't see the heartbeat." She cries. I'm like, "I can still feel him." She's like, "No, but I need to feel him because he's with me." I'm like, "Look, let's go to Lister Building." We went to Lister Building. We found some doctor. I think it's Dr. Khan, if I'm not mistaken. Very nice doctor. He greets us as Indian, and then he says, "What's the problem?" We tell him he did whatsoever, and then he says, "What do you see on the screen?" You see this heart pumping like crazy. He says, "No, that's your baby. Would you like to know the sex?" I wanted to know the sex. He's like, "No, it's too early."
Oh, yeah, of course, 3 months.
And then from then, we were very excited. But still, my son was still hiding. I mean, even when she was like, 6 months, thingy, still her stomach, she just looked like, she's bloated or something. Because I think my son understood, or the Lord, let me just put it on God. I think he understood that once they see anything, they will be coming for us. And indeed they did on the 7th month. When they did, they used cultural authority over us. They actually ambushed us. So I was like, "Mfet, somebody is knocking on the gate." Immediately when I showed myself, I saw one person. I came back with the key from nowhere. They came from the other side. Ne?
Yeah, from the other side.
It's like now elders. I'm like, okay, what's going on here? Okay, I opened the gate. I was told that I took advantage of their daughters' vulnerabilities. I saw a wife and I took advantage. They were just saying mean things and mas Lobola. What I did was wrong. It doesn't mean if they keep quiet, they are fools. I was like, okay, look, how can we sort this out?
Yeah.
Then in terms of sorting it out, I was like, okay, they use the sinyanyana, at least how kakinya sa sinyanyana, I was like, okay, no, let me talk to my family. We spoke as a family. We went, and I don't know, or like when there's muti in a bucket and then you're using a broom and stuff. I don't know what you call it.
It's like you was chasing away spirits or something like that.
Now the
Something
spirits
like
was us.
Eh?
When I asked my uncles to go there to do the Lobola negotiations, they were chased like evil spirits. Yeah, we were the evil spirits. Yeah. And then we had to hold the whole negotiations at Halmanskraal. Everything went well there. And then one question my family asked them was, before we finalize this, whose child is it when we pay damages? He said, yours. And my family comes and tells us, I know they're saying whatever happens, the child die.
Okay.
Wait. Are we excited? It's all good. But now, before I took out the Lobola money, and not the whole amount, because they might want to come and say, yeah, but it didn't take out the whole amount. Yeah. So when we did when we gave them whatever we gave them, at first I had kind of access to see my woman and my child. But after the Lobola thing and whatnot, things became bad. Like
wait. Because usually when you do the whole Lobola thing, there's paying damages for the pregnancy, then marrying the woman.
Yes.
Was it both?
It was both.
Okay.
It was both. I thought things were going to be better because that's what they promised.
Yeah.
They were not better. I mean, there were times where I would knock, they would take their precious time and then they'd open the door and just look at me and I'd be like, can I see my son or can I see, my woman? They would just look at me, leave the door open, and then I'd have to walk myself in, sit in the dining room by myself for sometimes 40, 45 minutes until I'm seen by the helper. And the helper would be like, how? You here? Why isn't anyone attending to you? I'd be like, I don't know. And then she would ask me, what is it that you want? I'm like, I want to see my son. Then my son would be brought to me and then I'd probably play with him, change him, feed him. But he hated formula. He wanted straight.
The boob.
Just like me. And except him, my brother didn't. So me, I was.
Yeah.
So they made my access to be difficult. But my woman, every chance she got, she made sure that, I see my son.
Yeah.
3 months later, the sister was fighting with my mother-in-law. My woman had nothing to do with whatever that they were fighting about. So I don't know, I was helping my woman, I think with the curtains. The daughter of the sister, what's this? My mother-in-law, gets in the room, looks around, and then my woman is like, hey, she's like, no, I'm looking at my room. I'll be having a painting here.
Wow.
I hate this color. So it was a hint. But now my woman was like, why is this child talking like this? Get out of my room, Ati, for now. She walks. Like, hey, man.
Yeah.
Before the end of that week, they were chased away. My child was only 3 months old. They didn't have any place to stay, so I wanted them to come stay with us, except the mother-in-law.
Who was chased out? The whole family, from the mother-in-law and the kids?
Yeah, it was my woman, the mother-in-law, and my son.
Oh, okay.
The sister, she still was like, nah, you know what? This is my place, you guys. And it's not even a place. It's like a family house. But yeah. Now, the very same sister, the funny thing is, when they kissed and made up, she's acting like now she loves my son, And the funny thing is, what I think they're scared of more than anything is my son knowing the truth. And I wouldn't have to tell my son the truth. I would just have to give him evidence because I have crazy evidence. But let me just go back to that main thing. So as our
they were kicked out.
Yes, they were kicked out. They lived in I think they were moving around up until they found a place in Protea, and then that's when hell started. When my mother-in-law's mother started living with them.
Okay.
At one point, all the time they would tell me, why is it business how? It would do very well if you join our church. I'm like, I was lucky enough, me and my brother, to be actually being baptized by Bishop Tutu.
Okay.
Because Bishop Tutu Pebegu, same society with my grandfather and stuff. Okay. So we had that privilege,
Yeah.
And then they busy telling me about their church, and I don't have a problem with the church, but they were always, telling me, if you can. You see, I'm telling you, my child, you will see. And I'm like, okay.
Yeah.
I'd tell my brother would be like,
Yeah.
Oh, mama prays, so that for me is everything. Because my mom is a priestess. My mom, even if you say, I have this, I'm sick here, I'm this, she'll just tell you, go, here's a glass of water, pour some water, bring it, let me pray for that water, drink, and then she'll pray for you, and then you'll be okay. So
just so that the people don't come for you, you're not saying there's anything wrong with the church, but you are doing what you were taught.
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah.
He's not saying. Yeah, I'm not
No,
defending.
I don't
him.
have a problem with the church.
Okay.
It's just it's like this one time we were in town. We were sourcing out fabric. I meet this guy. He says to me, "Assalamu alaikum, brother." I'm like, hi. He says, "No, when the time is right, you'll come to Allah." You know. So I was like,
Okay.
moved. So I don't have a problem with whatever
different,
religion.
yeah.
But I'm comfortable with what I know.
Yeah.
So from nowhere, I get a call. I'm told, go na le sporofeto.
There's a
The
prophecy.
prophecy is saying your son is going to perish.
Yeah.
So you must come to church and perform some ritualistic practices. And I'm thinking, why, Lord, are you putting me in this now? And then from nowhere, I spoke to my family. My family is like, hey, in fact, there's nothing you can do. You have to save your child. I went there. There's things that, I had to do that, yeah. And in doing these things, you're not doing them wholeheartedly because you're like, why am I doing this? Why do I have to drink this? Why do I have to be in a blanket? Why do I have to inhale this? It was just too much for me, And I tell my woman with I'm not comfortable. But she'd be like, baby, for our child. This is our one and only. We've been praying for this. We have to save him. You have to. This is the time whereby we are tested. So we need to. Because I loved her and I love my son, I was like, okay, why not? And then not realizing that now I was becoming part of the church.
Yeah.
Because if you go to, actually, no, let me not say much because they'll say I hate the church. But bottom line is that they didn't like me because the beard, they would come to me and say, what's
You're not supposed to, yeah.
and I'd be like, but it's part of my brand. It's who I am. It's what, I live by. It's what I'm known for, So it felt like I was, I don't know, disrespecting their things and stuff.
Yeah.
So I didn't feel welcome there. So I started pulling away from the church. What made me to really, really pull away was when we had to go to another branch and, to visit another branch. And then that day, something was just constantly telling me to watch your child. Watch your child. So I'd constantly go to my child because there men are with men, women and children and stuff. So the third time when I checked my son is no more. I'm busy looking around. Now I'm panicking. As I'm about to turn, because there's like a building, and then just behind the building, I see this guy. This guy's not even looking at me in the eyes. I don't know what he was looking at. He says, are you looking for your son? I'm like, yeah. And then he says to me, run by the gate. There's already a car that's waiting for your son. If you're going to miss this opportunity, you will never see your son. I did 100 meters at school. I did, I sprinted like nobody's business. As I was about to reach my son, I'm yelling his name. I'm busy shouting. He's not responding. He's just walking towards the gate. When I grabbed him, he was 3 years old at the time. It was the 25th of August 2017.
Yes.
When I grabbed him, it was like I broke him from whatever trance that he was in.
Yeah.
And then I picked him up. I went straight to where men are not even supposed to go to. I was like, hey, dude, let's go. This elder woman comes to me. Hey, men are not supposed to be here. Why? I'm like, I'm here for my woman. You understand? We are leaving. Hi, are you so fancy? Tatama Beklapa. We left. I told my woman what had happened, and she's like, yo, I'm sorry. I'm like, don't ever, whatever you do, don't ever bring my child here. Because before that happened, somebody was able to pick up that he has gifts because they were talking about your son has gifts, your son has this, your son's future, and, he's going to heal the world, he's going to see, and blah, 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 blah. So I not realizing Uguti, me talking to her that day was like the last day I was seeing her like live like this, And she begged me that day. She's like, baby, can you please come back with us? I'm like, no, I can't. We have to go and work, me and my brother, because there's a deal that we need to seal. And if I'm this side, it's going to prolong.
Yeah.
I'm tired of, living, like the way we're living. So we have to change things. And things are looking good, you can see.
Yeah.
And then she's like, okay. And from the 25th up until the 5th of September, we're busy talking, we're busy texting, whatever. On the 5th, when we were supposed to meet, we couldn't because we had to go register some other documents. And then I told her that I'll come the next day on the on the 5th, and then on the 6th, still again. Those people said, no, we don't do this anymore. You guys must go to town. So when we went to town, imagine you wait in a long line, and then eventually when you get there, like, no, we don't do this anymore. You must go to Pretoria. Now, I tell her, I'm like, look, I won't be able to make it again. I'll make sure on the 7th, on the 6th, ne?
On the 6th.
Yeah. No. Nay 4. It started on the 4th. And then on the 5th, it was town. And then on the 6th, it was Pretoria. When we go to Pretoria, my brother says to me, because I felt some heavy aura on me, you know. My brother says to me, I feel like I'm going to cry today. Because I'm a big brother, remember what I said when I spoke of toxic masculinity and toxic positivity.
Yeah.
So I'm like the big brother trying to
off
be
camera,
like,
just for
Yes.
we spoke about it off camera.
So I'm trying to cheer him up. I'm like, man, maybe it's nothing serious, you know. We get there again. This lady was nice enough to tell us that, no, if you take this, if you register for this, you'll be taxed for this, you'll be taxed for that. So go back, think about whatever, and then when you say you're ready, then you can come back and finish whatever that you want. I mean, do whatever you want to do. On our way back, 2 guys tried to rob us. So one thing, I don't know, it's my defense mechanism. You try to rob me, I attack you. So that's me. That's how I am. So these guys are like, this guy's crazy. So they move away. And my brother still says, I'm not okay.
Yeah.
I feel
else,
it too,
yeah.
but I'm like, and we were with our manager at the time, Umnwabisi. That's one guy that really, was there for us when we thought, you know what's the point of pushing? That guy saw us. That guy gave us an opportunity to actually express ourselves. That guy trusted us enough to, we also produce music. We also play live music. So that guy, when he heard what we do, he brought his people from Eastern
Cape. Malawi. Yeah, it's Eastern Cape, Malawi, and I think it was Eastern Cape and Malawi.
Yes. When he brought his people, they were doing clap and tap music. So the challenge was for us to listen to what they were doing and try to put instruments on it. We surpassed his expectations. He was blown away. That guy, just by being with him in that short period of time, we were able to buy the things that we were yearning for, He was so excited. He even gifted my brother the biggest gift ever. That ended up saving us as time went on. But going back to the 6th.
Yeah.
So on the 6th, on our way back, because I'm busy calling her, because in the morning we were talking, it was okay, it was good. And then the last thing she said, it was midday, 12. She says to me, when I'm telling her, these people are giving us problems, she says to me, listen, don't worry, I'll pray for you. I'm like, okay, cool. And then when things are starting to kind of look up, when I try to call her, she's not responding. When I send text, she's not responding. And then around, I think it was 2-4, I see a call is coming. I mean, I see a call. I mean, I see her name on my phone. Like a call is, like, yeah. So as I answered, in my head, I'm thinking I'm talking to her. I'm like, I've been trying to call you. Why are you ignoring? And then this voice is like, Dumela Muna, what's wrong? I'm like, where's the owner of the phone? Your person, not person, your person. Your person came to the church, said she came, not she. He came to...
I'm trying to be serious. Can you...
she came and she said she wants us to pray for you and your business. And we prayed. And then we gave her... Because he can see that this English is just giving him problems. He says, we gave him something to drink. And then immediately after that, she said, this thing is killing me. She stood up and then she was like dizzy and then she was holding the walls. And then she went outside, she fell, she rolled on the ground screaming, this thing is killing me. This thing is killing me. This thing is killing me. And but they didn't tell me as yet. So all they said was that your person is not well. So I'm telling my brother's like, let's rush. So we're driving Pretoria traffic and stuff. Get home, I take whatever that I had to bring them, like grocery, whatever, And then when we get there, they're like, no, not this church, the other church. When we go to the other church, 4 men approach me. 2 were sitting this side, 2 were sitting this side. The elder, I think the the old man said to me, so the old man relayed the story that your woman came, she said she was here to pray for you, and we gave her something to drink, and she said, this thing is killing me.
They didn't specify what it is that they gave her to drink.
They didn't. And then she held the walls, she went outside, she fell and started screaming that this thing is killing me, and then she died on the spot. That's story number 1.
Sure.
Now they're like, do you want to see her? I'm like, okay, can I fetch somebody before I do? So I asked the manager, like, dude, he says, what? I'm like, yeah, can we just... Now, when we drive up to my woman's house, just up the road, it's almost like a minute drive. There's a clinic. This person between 12 and 4, we don't know what was happening. Whilst there's a clinic just up the road. That's another...
Yeah.
And then when we got home, we got the grandma wake, and then we came back. And then when we came back, now the story evolves. They saying now, she came in, she said she was going to pray for Andile, and then after praying for Andile, we gave her something to drink. Immediately after that, she said, this thing is killing me. She stood up, held the walls, went outside, and then she fell, she rolled and said, this thing is killing me. And then she started nose bleeding. And then afterwards, she asked for something to wipe her nose with. And then she asked for a place where she could sleep. And I'm like, where she could rest. I'm like, okay, where is she? They're like, I know Arizama. So we passed the first door. I'm like, okay, maybe she's probably in the second door because it's the church. Now the last door, I'm like hoping, okay, let me prepare myself because I'm seeing blood, and whatever. No, the last door, we're passing it. Now we're going away from the church to some funny shade, and on the sides there's like bushes, nyana and stuff. Now, from a distance, I could actually see like, rubble, like broken chairs, desks and whatnot. And I'm thinking, who in their right minds would say,
I want to rest.
And then would walk and come here.
Yeah.
Her body was placed under the rubble. And her body was placed under the rubble. And the way it was placed, it was awkwardly placed, like something was being done to her. And one thing, like being a man, it's so crazy because we are told, to be strong and whatnot.
Yeah.
I didn't know how to act.
Yeah.
I was just I was just dead. I was just there. I was just the person who was comforting people. I was making calls.
Sure.
I was doing all these things, but I couldn't call my family to tell them what had happened. And then we had to wait for when I held her, she was still warm, She was still warm. She looked like she was sleeping even, she didn't look like she was she looked peaceful. Because she would always, I don't know how to explain, but she just looked peaceful, but the way her body was placed,
It was like there was some foreplay. Yeah.
There was. I kid you not. Because if you give me something right now, like you offer me something and I drink and I fall right here, I don't think you would want to call my brother who's probably in, I don't know, Pretoria or wherever, instead of you doing whatever you can right now.
Or even take me to the clinic because it's close. Yeah.
So when the mother came, when a person loses someone, there's a certain cry. I don't know, like something was missing. Like there was just a lot of things that were off. Even them afterwards, the body's laying there. They are busy whispering. Like, I don't know. Like I felt like, what, I'm dreaming. This is crazy. I know I'm an artist, but this is just what is really going on. And then paramedics confirmed, and then forensic, and then the body was taken. Then I had to come break the news. And the funny thing is, when I break it to them, I break it with a smile because I'm trying to make sure it's not so bad. I'm like, hey, by the way, this is what has happened. I'm expecting they'll be calm. Everyone is screaming. That's when it hits me with, man.
Actually, this person is gone.
But I'm still hoping with man. Because she was warm, maybe, just maybe, maybe she might wake up and stuff. I'm hoping.
Yeah.
That night she visits me. She's okay in the dream. And then my mom says to me, Andile, make sure that the next time she visits you in your dreams, you ask her what happened. You're like, okay, no problem. She visits me again a day after that day she actually visited me. And then I was like, what are you doing here? Because what I know is that you know more. She laughed at me. I'm like, what's so funny? She's like, no, dude, I'm not dead. What are you talking about? I was told to hide myself. When the time is right, I'll show myself. I'm like, what do you mean? If you don't believe me, go ask my mom. We told them. They were like, okay, no, we'll do something as a family and stuff. And then my son, in fact, okay, my son, immediately after this whole thing, when he saw me, when we came for condolences and whatnot, he just came and grabbed me and he didn't want to let go. He was 3 years old. And then when he did that, I was like, okay, let me pick him up, but he was dirty. I asked for izinto zokuthi ngimgeze. I gave him a bath. And then as I was still giving him a bath, he was just holding on to me, you know, and we both ended up being both wet and stuff. So we came out of the bathroom. I'm like, did he eat? But no, he doesn't want to eat. I'm like, my mom is like, no, you can't listen to a child. He must eat. And then they gave me his food. I fed him. Still, he was holding on to me. He didn't want to play with anyone. When we were about to leave, when they tried to take him from me, he didn't want to. He was just holding on. Whoever that was touching him, he was just screaming. Until everyone there said, no, leave him with his dad. You know, let him go with his dad. Not knowing that on that very day, the platoon has been like, on that day, my son actually was like, you know what, I want to stay with him, you know, and I wasn't ready. I wasn't ready. Yeah. I was still thinking, Gucci, I have to do it traditionally. We have to come as a family and what. But my son was like, no, I'm not going back there. You know?
Excuse me. So wait a minute. So the funeral arrangement and everything happened at her family house because you had not done everything that needed to be done for her to be officially your wife.
Yes.
Okay.
Now, with the funeral arrangements, they were struggling. My family comes and they like, look, since we didn't finish, you know, we would like to give her like an honorable funeral and whatnot. Now, the most disturbing part of this whole thing, we wanted to give her a dignified funeral. They want a glamorous funeral. They're talking about Benz. They're talking about, you know, they're talking about all the things that are against what she said. Because she would always say things like to me, I do not care about the flesh. I'm worried about where I'm going. That's what she would always say. So for them to talk about, you know, this is the best place for her, you know, 21st century is the one. Hey, they offer. I'm like, but what are they offering? And then eventually we thought that, you know, they understood that let's give her a dignified funeral so that people don't talk about you. So I'm under that impression that everything is okay. The next morning, we 21st century. Now I'm arguing with my mother-in-law. As I'm busy arguing with her, my mom takes the phone and says, Aibo, this guy has seen the most gruesome thing. This guy has been strong. This guy has been jumping at whatever you guys have been saying. Hey, you know, and now you're doing this to him. He is also going through what you're going through, so you can't be doing this to him. And I don't know, the exchange and whatnot. And then after that, they called, they like, Rebatlangwan. I'm like, there's no problem. We'll bring him. When we brought him, my son was like, he still held on to me. He didn't want to, you know. And then a day before the funeral, they sent their uncle. And then when their uncle came, I think he came with his wife. This guy was like, dude, I want to be straight with you. I don't want to beat around the bush. I'm told to just come and take the child. Do you agree? I'm like, no, I don't agree. I said, no, Nami, like, that did not make sense to me. Yeah. So what I'm saying is, we're not teen. I'm like, no, this is my child. I paid damages. I will do things the right way. Let's just make sure that the funeral thing, it passes and then we'll get to it. So I was under that, and then he says, oh, by the way, they're saying I'm not going to go back with the child, you won't have access to bid your farewells. You know, I'm like, how?
So they're gonna restrict you during the funeral.
Yes. And so my woman firstly lived in Pimville. So after they were chased away like dogs, they had to they found a place in Protea. Now, when her body came, it had to start at Pimville.
Yeah.
So I'm under the impression that they'll call us. They called everyone except us to come, I don't know, do whatsoever.
Was it for the viewing?
Yes, for like neighbors and whatnot. That's one thing that really hurt because my son did not understand what was going on. He was only 3 years old. And he would sometimes stand by the door and you would tell, like, whenever somebody would knock, he would, like, think that it was his mom.
Yeah.
And then every time my brother would come with his girlfriend, especially when she would wear, like, braids and whatnot, in his head, he would try to find his mother, you know, and that would, I didn't know how to, deal with that.
Yeah.
And then I was like to my mom, I'm not going to the funeral. And then my family sat me down. They're like, no, you can't say that. You have to, despite of whatever that's happening. We are going tomorrow.
Yeah.
We'll see when we get there what happens. Then we prepared ourselves. We went to the funeral. The body was still in the house. But when we got in the house, they didn't even open the casket, you know. My son, the only thing he was constantly looking at was the photo that was leaning on the coffin. And then when we asked to check the thingy, they just looked at us and then asked the guys that were the organizers and stuff to take the coffin outside to the tent. They did that. And they didn't even allow us to to be with the family.
With the family.
Literally, we were like behind the tent.
With your son?
My son, my family, even the guys that were doing my negotiations and whatnot. It was embarrassing because when you merge families, you're expecting that, there'll be, people that will be matured enough to put away childish things and act, but we never got that.
Yeah.
But now, you see, God works in mysterious ways. People started talking. I saw people busy pointing at me saying, that's husband. Why is he there, And then when it got to them, they sent their elder to come fetch me. And then I was like, no, I'm okay. Why now? They're like, no, don't disrespect me. I'm old. Now she's using cultural authority again. Then I was like, you know what? I'm raised well. I'll follow you. I'll do whatever you want. I got, immediately when I sat down, the pole of the tent, it just dropped on them. It could have easily dropped on me because I was like sitting next to it. No, it fell on them. I was like, that's my woman. Because one thing about my woman, like me, like our family, like with me, my mom is like my grandfather. When it comes to being, it's on, like that's them. But with me and my brother, we more like, give a dog a long rope to hang themselves. So we have that thing. But my woman, because I was training, I was huge, I didn't want to be in trouble for beating up people. So if you give me bad service, I'd walk away. My woman would be like, no, come back. Call your manager. That was my woman. And the manager, if is not talking, she would say, call your manager's manager. Oh, manager, call your boss's boss.
Yeah.
So that's who she was. Like she would always fight for everyone, Like anywhere, whatever. Like one thing about her, like she was just amazing. She's one person who would always tell me and my brother that you guys are in business, you won't survive. You have to fight. You have to fight because you saying this person owes me, but you know what, Mundimu will deal with them. It's not going to work. Yeah. Guys, you must make sure that, you
was
you
a
get
fight,
whatever.
honey.
Yes. So when I saw the poll, I was like, that's my woman. I know, you know. So they didn't even want me to actually do the soil thing. I stood up by force. And I was like, the closest thing I can do to get closure is for me to fight Bamba a box now. So I did that with my son. Despite the fact that they were pulling it away from me, I'm like, you can't. I lift crazy weights. If it means I have to pick this up by myself, I'll do so. I held it, but it still did not ring that she's actually now, this is the last stages of, immediately when I saw the thingy going down, that's when it dawned on me and I felt like tears, like every emotion boiled up into one. And then I felt like, because even when my father passed away, my mom was like, "Yo, lo mntana lo unesibindi." Like, he's so brave. He's just looking at, my man, and he's not even, But now what she doesn't understand, I wanted her to see me with I'm strong, but deep down inside, that broke me. And I grew up with that thing. A person that would express himself is my brother. Even like right now, if you do something to us, the first person who will react is my brother. But he's quiet. It will take a very special person to piss him off. But when he is on that short fuse, I don't know if you saw that video.
Yeah, the one that you sent to me.
Like on that day, I'm sleeping. My brother is like, "Hey, daughter, wake up." Like, "Hey, what's going on?" Ate baba vuga. Police are outside. Police. Like, let's leave there. It's like, "Hey, baba, we've left these people for 8 years. They've been doing whatever to us. This is the time. We have to end this today and now."
Okay, we're gonna get into the story, the video itself, now, because I think we jumped. But
No,
the
no,
one
I
thing
want to
that
go- okay.
the one thing that I actually wanted to ask before we conclude on the funeral is: did you guys ever get a post-mortem done?
That's where I'm going.
Okay.
Let me not skip. Let me come back to this.
Okay.
So after the funeral, I went to the family because they called us for the 10 days and whatnot, for the cleansing and whatnot. So I gave them my son. They did the cleansing. Immediately after that, I asked them, what can I do culturally? What is the correct way of making sure that I take my child the proper way? They're like, "No, you're not supposed to talk to us. The people that are supposed to talk to us are the people that came.
The negotiators.
Yes. So tell them to write a letter." I go back to them, tell them about the letter thing. They're like, "No, it's not a problem. Just give us time." Not knowing that my mother-in-law, behind everyone's back, goes to my house where they stay, the negotiating people, the elders and whatnot, told them that we are denying her access. We what else? And
She's not allowed to see the child, and you just want to keep the child to yourself, something like that.
And my family they were very upset. The first thing they did was they call us. In our heads, we're thinking, I know they're calling us for the
letter issue.
For the letter.
Yeah.
We get there, we find this woman. We're like, what is this one doing here? Next thing, it's a meeting, it's an ambush. There's nothing that's said than having the people that are supposed to protect you turn against you. Like, you look at them, the only person that actually kind of wanted to know the truth was my uncle. Now, my mom is like, she's saying I'm denying her access. She claimed that she called. And then my mom didn't want to give my child. My mom, luckily, her phone was recording the call. When my mom played the call, the recording, that's when she's like, "Hi, that's not me." But you can hear that it's her. Like
What was she saying in the recording?
Pardon?
What was she saying?
Okay, on the recording, she's like, "Hello, Lijuang, can I please speak to Ngwana?" And then we're like, okay. We gave Ngwana ala Ari, no. And then again, we like, Ngwana, no. Ari, no, kupale mufeng phone. Now she's getting upset, agitated. Then we give Ngwana screams. And then we're like, there's nothing we can do.
Talk to you.
And then afterwards, she goes and lies to my family. So she caused a rift between me and my family. That's the first move she did. Second move she did was they started now threatening me that they're coming after me with their lawyers and whatnot. Now, the biggest mistake I did was to go to legal aid. Get to legal aid, I told them my problem. They're like, "No, if you want us to help you, go to Protea Court." I went to Protea Court. Protea Court, instead of them advising me, telling me what other things I should be doing, they just give me a form and say, "No, just sign here, go to the police station, bring it, we'll give you a date. Here's your date." I'm like, okay, what is happening here? Then I went back to them, I give them the thing, and they said to me they were going to give me a lawyer. Now, when I come back, they're like, "Oh, actually, no, we are not going to give you a lawyer. The lawyer is only reserved for your child and the mother." I'm like, "But guys, you the ones that convinced me to go to Protea. Now you're telling me that you cannot protect. There won't be. You won't issue a lawyer." They're like, "No, so the things have changed." I'm like, "How can they change within a week? I spoke to you this week. You should have told me that maybe something might happen and stuff." And then they're like to me, "No, sorry, go find yourself a lawyer."
Okay, let me understand something. Yeah. When you went to the police station and get the form and everything, what exactly were you seeking?
I was seeking an order that would grant them access.
Okay.
It's like I didn't want us to constantly bicker.
Okay.
I knew that if the law is is involved, I knew that, no one wants to be arrested. So
Okay.
every time, whoever that violates that one thing, we would just waive the thing.
So basically, you were looking for something like a parenting plan between yourself and your in-laws.
That's what I was looking for.
Okay.
And then first year, we found I have to mention this guy's name. That man knew what he was doing. He knew why he was at Protea Court. His name is Mr. Lewis. Mr. Lewis, he did not take, hey, he's saying this, she's saying this. No, he would say to us, court deals with proof. Bring proof, we'll listen to you. Now the same thing, bring proof, that's it. So that's when we started now organizing the whatever evidence we could. And then my son, they convinced me to actually take my son to Asha, some other crash because that has many scandals, by the way. So when we did that, I was against the whole idea, but they used, like things like, you can bond with your son, it's like a walk away and whatnot. Plus, he'll grow up with his cousins, so we want them to be like brothers. So I was like, you know what? Anyway, Mr. Lewis is asking us to make peace. And that's when we made peace. Like, we genuinely made peace on our side. And then the first week, my son comes back with a huge bump on the head. When we asked, From the crash. When we asked them, they're like, no, we don't know. Your child always hides. I'm like, okay, I know, it's fine. Before the end of that month, my son now comes with another bump on his forehead. I'm like, what happened? They're like, no, the teacher said, I was washing chairs, so they were playing that side, so yeah, but we'll wash him, don't worry. So I was like, okay. Yeah. The second month or so, my child now comes back with a funny rash. I asked them, I'm like to them, did you give him eggs? They're like, yes, yeah, we did. I'm like, but in your forms, you asked, is he allergic to anything? And I was like, no, eggs. They're like, I will tell you the truth. We don't read that. We don't, I was like, okay, but now my son is, and it took him about a month or two, that whole thing.
Oh, it took over.
It took time.
3 to 4 months. It even formed ringworms.
And then he had ringworms. Now, with the ringworms issue, I see it. And I'm busy going back to my mother-in-law's sister. She's actually the chairperson of that crash. Now, her being the chairperson, when I sent emails that she says I must complain on, lodge my complaints on, they don't respond. But when she does it and CCs me, they respond. So I'm busy sending them because I'm thinking now we're family. We've, ironed out our issues and whatnot. Guess what? These people behind our backs, they were building a case. We didn't know. So also she was given access without me knowing to my child, And then as time went on, last but not least, my child, I went to fetch him, but that day he did not have energy. When I held him, it was like he was in pain. I'm like, are you okay? So my child was born with a minor speech impairment. He was late in terms of his speech and whatnot. So he couldn't talk. Even with the bump, when I asked him, you could see he's using baby language and signs, but he can't, and that frustrated him. And then I fetched him, I left him home, and then I'm like, Ma, I'm going to the meeting. So I went to the meeting. As I was on the meeting, my mom calls me, says, hey, come back, your son's arm is broken. Like, how? Ganjan. And then we came back, the arm now is turning green. So we had to make sure that we get him, checked out and whatnot. And then they found out that his wrist was broken. And then I send a complaint, they don't respond. I send it via, that was the final nail on the coffin. A week later, I get a call from Families Advocate Court. Good morning. Is this Andile, Mr. Chazibani? I'm like, speaking. There are serious allegations about you. So are you available tomorrow? Can you come? Because this is like serious. I was like, okay. Because, they catch you off guard and you're like, okay, no, why not? Yeah. And then I went, my mom is like, take everything from medication, from everything. Just take whatever you can. I did exactly that. When I got there, there was a senior magistrate, a senior social worker, and then it was my mother-in-law. So we get in this room. When we were there, these people, like the room was cold, and I'm like, what's going on? Now, when I try to speak, everyone just, stops me, and the person that they led to, the person who's giving the floor is my mother-in-law. And then now they're talking about, we're going to remove this child from him. How can he do this? I'm like, what are you talking about? And then they started telling me that, firstly, you beat the child, senseless. He had a huge bump on his head. And then secondly, it was the forehead. Thirdly, you broke his arm because you wanted to extort the crutch.
Even.
What are you talking about? That's when I was like, okay, wait a minute. No, we're going to take his child. I was like, no, this is my child. You brought me here now to do what you're doing. Give me a chance to show you that I didn't do whatsoever that I'm being accused of. Once they started seeing the evidence, the mountains of evidence that I had, they were shocked. This lady was like, we were ready to take your child if you did not come prepared. And then they showed me this email. This email is written Liberty Life. So the sister has been doing all these things, sending these emails. Like, they use my child's information without my consent. According to the Popia Act, I think it's Section 9, if I'm not mistaken. That is a crime. I cannot steal your information and use it as I please. You know what I'm saying? Especially for a minor. So that's what they did.
What were they using it for?
To
build up the case of negligence against you. Okay.
As a chairperson, for her to give my mother-in-law access to my son's personal information, because her job was for her to just escalate the emails. That's it. Not to divert them to her sister. My sister, plus she talks like this. My sister, this will help you trust.
It's hard to take you serious.
You know what this lady said to me, Miss Sima. All the good ones, I'll say their names, because if I say their names, I know that
other people will get help through them.
Yes.
Yeah.
So Miss Sima is the senior magistrate, and then Miss
Ngwenya.
Mrs. Ngwenya, she's a senior social worker. They told me straight, we were ready today. We were going to take your child. You were not going to go back home with your child.
Yeah.
And then that's when they like, why don't you press charges against them? I was like, because I was thinking, this woman is grieving. She's just looking for anything and everything to lash out on, So even at home, they were busy saying to me, dude, the more you let these people do this, they're not going to stop.
Yeah.
They will continue. That was 2018. Now, after that whole thing, after everything being cleared, we went back to court. That's when there's a lady by the name of Unelisiwe Mlambo. Nelly was the best friend of my woman. So Nelisiwe studied speech therapy. So she's the one who actually told us, the child, there's a problem. He's smart, everything is okay, but the problem is the speech. Kids his age, they have to at least use about 3 to 4 syllables. Him is still on ma. And even me, he'd call me ma. I end up comes in with ma. Whoever, So when you say hi, you say hi. How are you? How are you? Are you fine? Fine. So he was like a parrot and stuff. So at school, they firstly said he needs special school. And I was like, I know my son. I see him at home. I see how he solves things, with the Legos and whatnot and other things, you can see if your child, go get me this, and then he gets easily distracted. There's many signs. But I knew that, no, even at home, my brother, my mother, they would say, this special school, it does not exist. Aiko. And then this lady was like, I understand that you're grieving. I understand that you have court now.
Okay, what was the court case for now? You opened the case against the mom-in-law?
No, it was still for the parental plan.
Oh, okay.
It's still for the parental plan.
Okay.
So what now Mr. Lewis wanted to do, he wanted to make sure that everything is resolved amicably.
Okay.
But now their argument is, we raised him, But now how do you raise someone when every time you call me and say, Mwana, chicken.
But a 3-year-old wants meat. Like, just think about it.
And then you say you raise my child. And then you come back and say, like they would, whatever that they, it's one. And then you want to come now to court and make me as if I can't afford to take care of my child. Because she lost a job. Because what she did was, she ended up quitting a job because she couldn't afford, the house. So the only way she could afford the house, she had to quit a job,
Get the
take
money.
the pension money.
Okay.
But now the dumbest thing she did was go for Kipi. And I told them,
Was it during the time when was your wife still alive during
she
the
was
time?
still alive.
Oh, okay.
And I would tell her mom, you'll never win. Even when you go to Vegas, wherever, the house always wins.
Yeah.
They only woke up when she was from millions to a couple of 100,000s to say, by then it was too late. The house didn't even have furniture, So fast forward, going back to that thingy. So, where was I?
The case.
Oh, the case.
Yes.
Now, when we had to go back to Mr. Lewis was adamant to make sure that he fixes everything. But now the problem was they felt that the child belongs to them. And then they ended up telling him that the first child, according to our culture, belongs to us. And then he says, no, according to the Children's Act.
Yeah. The child
He's the
belongs to
biological father.
both parents.
Now, since the mother is no more,
You're
it
the
means
only
that,
sole custodian of the child. Yeah.
she did not like that. She really did not like that. She did everything in her power to just complicate things. And
Okay.
the
Oh,
more
that's
she
when they were now starting to build cases against you so that they can, because obviously if you're negligent, they can give them the child. Yeah.
And then that's when, I had to take him now to speech therapy. But now speech therapy, they wanted the birth certificate. I think that card,
The clinic card, yeah.
They needed that. When I asked for them, she's like, I don't know where they are. We just had a funeral. Yeah, we just put whatever there. But I'm like, time. We are against time. The more we stall, it's the more he's going to be behind. And then I told the magistrate. The magistrate is like, lady, give this man what he needs. Give him the birth certificate. Give him the
Clinic card.
and the clothes.
Everything.
Yeah. She refused all these things until the magistrate was like, you see, I was kind enough to let you see the child fortnightly. Because you're stubborn, from now on, you're only going to see the child every first Saturday of the month from 10 until 6 because you're stubborn. I'm changing the order because you're refusing to give the dad these things because he has to register the child in school and the speech and audio thing. So that's how the order, was.
Was amended, yeah.
Yes. Now, seeing that is happening, the next year it was now a new magistrate because we were waiting for the outcome from Families Advocate Court. Now they took long to respond, and then now there's a new magistrate. But now that new magistrate, the first time, here's a fun fact: the first time when they meet me, they'll be like, "Granny, listen, rights are reserved for the father and whatnot." But now there's this thing she always did. Every time when we were dismissed, she stays behind. And then me, I'm like, no, as long as they explain to her, we are in the right track. The next time I go back there, it's a different story. They will tell me things like, no, you must share the child co-parent. I'm like, no, the person I'm supposed to co-parent with is no more. She has Section 23. That gives her the rights to see my child, and maybe even have sleepovers. But what you are asking me to do with this woman who does not have her best interest on my child, it's going to destroy us. And then she started now building cases that don't exist, saying that I can't afford my son's medication. My son is asthmatic. I had to see about 4 doctors, no?
4 doctors.
To prove that my son was actually healthy as an ox. And then she even bought that medication. So every time she visited him, she would treat him without my consent. And then my child, and they would do some ritual things on, he would come back with oils. And when he comes back, you could see that he just wants to sleep. And she was then advised to, because she was asking the magistrate as to what can she do. Can she go to, a high court? Can she contest and win? They're like, no, there's nothing you can do unless he fights or he does anything to you. And then that's when she came to fetch my child. And then when she had to return him, she whispered something to him. After whispering that thing, my child started screaming. I don't know what she said. So when I wanted to take my child from her, she's like, no, I'm comforting him. I'm like, but your time is up. This is my child. I know how to comfort my child. So she started pulling the child from me. And then my neighbor comes out, she sees this. And then I ended up pulling him. And when I pulled him, she comes, she stands by the door. Now I can't go in the house. And I'm like, okay, let me walk away because I can see what she's up to. I walked down. In fact, I walked to the park just down the road. And now what was bothering me, like everyone that was passing, they were busy saying, what have you done to the child? I'm like, let me just go back. As I was walking up, like it was clear, she was nowhere to be found. When I was about to get in my yard, she comes charging towards me. She wants to grab the child. So as I'm turning, walking into my yard, she grips my collar, she rips it. And when she ripped it, instantly my fist boils up. When I was ready to punch, she smiles, she closes her eyes, she brings her face first. Yo. You see, when she did that, I was like, yo, this woman.
She's been provoking you.
Dude. And here's a fun fact, and it's something that women must know. It doesn't mean when we walk away, we scared. Yes, no one wants to go to prison, but she's coming to me like that. And at the same time, I've been lifting weight. At the time, I was still big because one of the things that made me to train even more, when I heard that she went to church to pray for me, and I was the one person who was always there to save her, to always, protect her. This one time when she needed me the most, I was not there. So I was blaming myself. So the only way I could punish myself was through training, because that's the only way I could sleep. If I knew if I beat myself to the core, the only thing I can do, I wasn't even eating. They would force me about and my brother would be like, Endot, let's do music. Like they were there for me. They were they saw I was done. I was done. Like there was a time, and be careful of what you wish for. I prayed. I was like, God, I can't take this anymore. Please take me. Guess what? 3 a.m. I felt my breath, I felt my soul trying to leave my island.
Your body
was the most painful thing, excruciating thing. I was like, no, I'm playing. I'm playing. I'm sorry. I take it back.
Yeah.
And let me, fast forward again.
What happened after you almost punched her and she's smiling?
Yes.
You stopped?
Immediately after stopping, I knew that now gloves are off. If this woman is ready to do this. So the point that I was trying to make was that what you don't understand is that I'm grieving, I have this pain, and you doing this. She doesn't think this punch could kill her. Because my woman, as I told you, that she could foresee things. She said something to me. She said to me, please don't fight with anyone. Because the way whatever they did, they want you in prison. Whoever that you're going to touch with your hands, you're going to go to prison, and that's where they'll get you, and that's where they'll kill you. So whatever you do. So when I saw that, and the way she came, and when you used to fighting, because I grew up fighting, there's certain stands that if a person comes to you in that certain way, and you're standing in that particular stance, and if you make that move, you can do serious damage. And in her head, I don't know whether she was thinking it was going to be a feather punch, because when I felt that t-shirt rip, it's something we built, it's something we made. It's like we value whatever we do, for her to do that, that's when I was like, you know what, let me go in the house. So she still follows me. As she's following me, so our door has a glass thingy that you can actually, it's like a door within a door, but the other one, it's actually made out of glass. So when I closed the door, the force made that glass break. So she still did not see this guy, where he is right now, something, if that force was directed to me, something bad might have happened. And then hell started when the magistrate requested that we find our own, social worker. And it was a social worker from hell. This social worker, at first, she was kind of nice and stuff, but she didn't want to be challenged. So we had the mediation, and I'm thinking, based off the mediation and what I'm willing to give the maternal grandmother, she was actually going to amend whatever that she was writing according to my the way that I feel that it would best work for us. No, she wrote things like co-parenting, what. It was just a lot of this that I was like, no. She's like, are you sure? If you dispute this, I'll come for you. I'm like, what do you mean which will come? I don't know, I'll come for you. I'll come for you. I'll use section 36. Yeah.
What's that?
No. You know, and I was like, okay, Pacha, we'll see. Get there. And they tried whatever. I brought my evidence and I squished them. I became arrogant because now I was like thinking, I know, I read the Constitution, I read the Children's Act, I read this, I read that. I don't even need a lawyer. I got this. And the biggest mistake I did is that because my woman died in church, I was upset with God. I didn't want anything to do with him. I remember as a family we would pray. As we were praying, I'd look at them and they were praying for me. They were praying for the situation.
Yeah.
And I'd ask myself, what's the point? If he's able to let my woman to go through that, what will he do for me? I have evidence, I have this, I have that, I can do this by myself. That was the biggest mistake. Because whatever evidence I would try to produce, you know what would happen? This evidence is old, say. This is not trial. You know, like they did everything to just dismiss it. And then that's when they started now siding with her, you know. And then now it was now the social worker. It was also legal aid. Legal aid, the social worker was friends with the lady who was a legal aid who was supposed to protect my son. And then it was the magistrate and guess what? What's this? The interpreter. So imagine these 4 women attacking me, but they couldn't do it openly because I would get in with my mom. So when they saw that my mom was the biggest distraction, they're like, sorry, mama, next time, can you make sure that you stay outside because this is not about you, it's about him.
Oh, Mara, your mom is in the same position as your mom-in-law, isn't it?
She is, but when they got me alone, that's when flames started showing. That's when they would provoke you when you react, anger issues, toxic. They would say things like obsessive, you know, and they even wanted to actually place my child in a special school. And then they claim that because I can't afford, you know, and since my mother-in-law is a teacher at Meadowlands Primary School, she is, you know, better suited to care for him. And I was like, if she is better suited to care for him, why hasn't she brought anything, any piece of, you know, I mean, she's a teacher. She could have came with phonics or something to assist. I mean, because I was literally like with my family, it was us going to the speech and audio thingy at Bara and then coming back. We were like literally on our own, and YouTube played a big role, you know, and also just research and whatnot. So I asked them that question, if she really cares about him, why is she dismissing that he does not have any problems? Because what you're saying, you're trying to make me think that my child is sick. And then I started now noticing things that went there, and I started believing maybe something is wrong with him. Now, as I was busy now starting to, you know, check these things about my child, now they were also coming for my mental thingy, saying that I'm unfit, I'm grieving, I'm holding myself. I mean, I'm holding the child. I don't want the child. I'm thinking the child is an island. No man is an island. So they were just trying to do anything and everything, asking questions like, do I drink? Do I smoke? Do I have a girlfriend? All these things, you know. And then the one thing they saw that was working for me was the training. So they said, the social worker was like, I saw this man 3 months ago. He was smaller than this. Within this 3 months, he has gained serious muscles, which means he's on steroids. And if he is on steroids, the child is in danger because there's something called the steroid rage. So he would, you know, if the child pisses him off, he would just snap the child's neck. So my mom, the way she was so scared, she's like, my son, stop training. That was one of the things that started depressing me, because I was waiting for grief therapy, because I would take my son to the speech therapist, but the speech therapist would always say to me, are you okay? Every time I see you, your light is dimming. And then I was like, oh, no, I'm okay, I'm training. She's like, but that's not enough. You need help. And growing up at Kasi, we never had, you know, Aboma therapy and whatnot. So I'm thinking, I don't need that. You know, I'm a man. I have to just work through the emotions. Until this one time she said to me, do you love your child? I was like, yeah. She wrote whatever, and then she said, go to the other side. There's a psychological thingy. You need to, I've spoken to them already. I think also therapy and grief therapy, something along those lines. I didn't go that month. That next month, because I was pissed with a court, they're calling me now psychotic, crazy and whatnot. And now I have to go to a psychologist. And I'm thinking now it means Vela I am. And then when I get there, I'm seeing these kids are there, autism. I'm thinking, yeah, I'm crazy now. Yeah, no, and as I was about to leave, this lady, luckily she was the main person who was running the department. She's like, Andile, I was like, yes. She's like, come. I didn't realize that. I was actually bearing a lot within me. And then when I spoke to her, she said to me after our fourth session, wow, you actually have a dimple. I didn't realize, because the first time you came here, they're doing this to me. Like you were just so angry, but now you're starting to laugh. And I could feel the load slowly but surely,
Lighter.
That's when I was like, you know what, actually this thing is working, because I wanted the help, because the therapist made it clear for me, in order for me to be like the best father for my child, I needed help myself. I didn't even know how important grief therapy was, but it really did help.
Yeah.
And, those guys, like, they played a very big role, because in a very short space of time, my child was just using one syllable. From nowhere, my child now is using about 3 to 4 syllables. And they were very tough on him. They were like, listen, if he's hungry and he says bread, you say, what do you want? Because my child would just point at whatever he wanted. So they're saying, until he says, I want this, I want, then yes, you can give him. So the more we did that, and they would tell me things like, when you walk with him, ask him, what color is this? What color is this car? Just to make sure that you spark conversation. When he's from school, talk to him. So we would do all these things. We never missed, not even one a session. But now it was starting to make me look good in court according to them. But for me, I didn't go there. I was actually helped by a friend of my woman to go there, not knowing that it would actually now offend people. When the social worker saw that this thing was going against whatever lies they conjured, she actually asked for an order to go to the speech and audio therapy thing. She got there, she threatened them, she told them what they were doing was wrong, they were not supposed to do it.
They were not supposed to help you?
Yes, without the grandmother.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, you guys are biased. So this lady...
So it's more like you getting help for your son behind her back, because she also wants to be involved.
Okay. And I'm like to her, what's the problem? Mr. Lewis asked us one question. He said, you guys are both grieving. Have you had any form of help? And you know what she said? Unlike some people, I have... tell me.
I'm working.
Yeah, unlike some people, I'm working. Because to them, what we're doing is not work. But funny thing is... Okay, I don't want to talk about money. But anyway, so when she did that, they called me, they told me, hey, this person came, she threatened us and whatnot, so we don't know what's really going on. Why? I mean, we are assisting you, we are assisting the child.
Of the child.
And the sad thing is that our program ends when he's 6 years old.
6 years old.
And at the time, he was like, what?
4.
And now when they intercepted that, things changed, in terms of like us
his
going
progress,
there now, his progress and whatnot. And what they didn't want, because they labeled him as a slow learner, they didn't want him to speak. Now, the second time when she came and fetched him, she was supposed to bring him back at 6. My brother says, Endot, go fetch the child. It's now past 7. I'm like, I know, they'll bring him. Now it's like 7:30. My brother's like, Endot, go fetch your child. I went. When I get there, I knock. My mother-in-law opens the door. She says, Obatlang, what do you want? I'm like, I'm here for my child. She's like, Mwana Ofing. I'm like, my child, my boy, And then my boy, like the butler door was locked. The door is half opened. My boy comes on the other side and then he's looking at me. So I'm trying to diffuse the whole situation. So I reach out and play with his head. And then she closes the door on my hand and starts pressing hard. I get angry and I'm like, you know what? Because everything I do, I firstly play it in my head. So I see the way I'm angry that if I push this door, she's going to get hurt. And that's what they want, and it's their premise.
Yeah.
Now, when I looked at my son's fear, that my son is my kryptonite. So when I saw him, I was like, yeah, you know what? Let me just pull my hand And then that's it. So when I successfully pulled my hand from the door, that's when she left the door open. She went to the bedroom. My son tried to get out. The doors were locked. My son is busy walking around the house, trying to find her. I don't know how, but my son managed to squeeze himself out of the back butler door. And then I saw him run around. So they thought that I was actually going to go over their wall and take my son. And they were going to say, I don't know,
Trespassing. Or
trespassing.
something like that. Yeah.
But now my son was a bit taller, so I just leaned on the wall and picked him up. So when I went back home, again, they're like, dude, you have to press charges. I'm like, you know what? This woman, man, God will deal with her. Man. It's okay. They're like, dude, you have to press charges. I didn't. And then, like, she was doing all these things in front of my son, not realizing that my son now, she doesn't see. And the funny thing is, she used to spoil my son. My son loved her, loved them. But now the sad thing is that whatever we taught him, like, you know, if you spill something, wipe and whatnot, like it only took that 6 hours. When my son came back, he'd want to hop on the couches, he'd want to play with water balloons. He would, like that side, when he was that side, there's no rules. You do whatever you want. So the more, whatever that she did to me, she didn't even realize that my son was there. And then when my son, because they tried to interview him when he couldn't speak, when they finally did, my son told them straight, I don't want to stay with Lento, my mother-in-law, because Bambuza, why? He says no, because he fights with my dad in front of me. And he was just, and what I liked about that thing that they wrote, they used these exact words. They didn't want to fix them because
interpreted or anything like that, yeah.
Exactly the way he put them. He fight with dad, you know, and they were busy hiding these, like they've interviewed him over 9
8 times.
Yeah.
I think it's the 8th.
You know, and despite that, they've been getting the same answer. Even till today, they still try to ambush him at school. They still trying to just weigh him down for them to get whatever answer that they want. But they're forgetting that, you see, children, I've realized one thing, that's what I learned in therapy, that children don't spell love like Love, they spell it like Time. So with the more time we spent with him, my brother, no matter how busy he is, you will just play games with him, soccer, like the time that we've given him, you know, we know we can't cover Ispesagalolo, you know, it's always there, it will always be there, but my mom plays whatever part she can, and she has been playing it so well that it's so shocking that every time I say to him, hey Baba, Granny's calling, you say, yeah, mommy, and I'm like, okay, this is funny.
Okay. Obviously, Ndibu is not happy with us anymore because we are way out of time. You see, she flipped that thing. We put it down. We're done.
Yes.
But you're gonna give us grace. You've already given us.
Okay, let me just get
Okay,
to
wait.
the
I
nice
wanted
bits.
no. I wanted you to get to the because there's one question that I asked earlier on that you didn't answer, which is about the post-mortem, if whether it was done.
Okay, it was done, and they found black granules in the stomach, and it was ruled out as poisoning. And when,
the case was closed just like that. There's no case open, nothing.
nothing. And not only that, when we, because they were hiding the investigating officer, so we had to go to all the police stations in Protea until we found out where that actual policeman was, where he was working from. And then when we saw the case file, it's literally like half a page. It's like literally half a page. I think it's even smaller. Ne?
I see.
It's nothing.
We can give it grace and say half a page.
Yeah, let's just say half. So when we tried to open a case against the church, because we were like, no, what happened here, it's not on. They said to us, I got not with our church. You know, and then what else?
Who tried to stop you? Your
My mother-in-law and her mother. That's what they said, not with
The
our
church has been good to us.
The church has been good to us.
Oh, so she doesn't mind that her child died
She
in the
doesn't mind.
church.
The church has been
is
good to her. So actually, she's saying it's under investigation since 2017 till 2025. It's still under investigation.
And I'm assuming that's one of the things that you would like to get to the bottom of the case of how your wife died.
Yes, that's number one. Number two is for them, like as a teacher, how do you constantly turn a child's life like what she's doing now? Like, and the funny thing is, I don't know, like she sends these social workers prior every time on the week that he's supposed to write his exams. I think also what made her angry is that when she found out that we've been pushing in such a way that my child has been getting awards, a person that was deemed slow, at one point he got all 7s, and when they saw that in court, they couldn't believe it.
Do you feel like your son needs to be protected from his maternal family?
Yes, but you know what's the funny thing, ne? They are family. They are still family. But now, how they're going about it is the problem. You know, them following the order, we do not mind.
Yeah.
But I will not let anyone bully my child. That is what I told them, that we grew up being bullied by our elders, telling us, hey, it's our culture. A child mustn't speak. No, but we have our voice, because that's the one thing that actually contributes to abuse abantwana. Because family members do abuse abantwana, but we always keep it within the family.
Yeah.
So I was like, you know what? I don't want that to happen to my child. If he wants to go to you, he wants to visit you, I don't have a problem. I'm not going to dispute anything. However, if you're going to try to use your power, because she has powerful friends from lawyers, even social development, the regional department, when we took it, when we tried to report the social worker, one of the guys that was running the legal team, the legal department, he said to me, what you're doing is unfair to a career. I'm like, oh, so what is happening to us? It's fair. No, but there are other ways, we can. I'm like, all I'm asking for is for you to take out your person. And I don't want DSD, because social development, you can see that they are with her.
Okay.
Because, it's something that they've been trying to push, for her to just get rights and whatnot. Apart from social development, there is also pro bono. Pro bono, how they're involved is that they used to issue out lawyers. However, when I tried to make one magistrate who was mean, who was a bully, who did not even give me a chance, when we were supposed to see Mr. Lewis, I think in 2019, after a very long time, because the magistrate that was supposed to take over wasn't there. She told the social worker that, also the social worker, because I did not abide by her rules, what she did was she told me that she was going to get me. One of the ways she got me was through, she became an attorney. So she would just fold her hands. The social worker would do the talking, she would produce the evidence, just to discredit me as a father. And when I tried to report that to the main, senior magistrate, the senior magistrate was like, take all your evidence, give it to the social worker that you are reporting, for her to go do research.
The same person you're complaining about.
Yes.
How possible
and
is
then
that?
on my next on the next court thingy trial, and then she'll present her, and I'm like, no, but that doesn't make sense. Even the lawyer at that present point in time that we had now seen, which what we need to pay, said to me, no, I'm against that. It doesn't make sense. How can you report someone and then you have to give them all your evidence? And then when we opposed that, the magistrate was not happy. She said, because of that, this case is going on trial. I was excited because I knew I had everything. But now when we went there, when I wanted to produce my evidence, in court, they're telling me, no, this is not trial. But I'm like, the senior magistrate said this case is in trial. And now you are telling me another story. So every time, whenever they saw that they were about to lose, they would frustrate me by, let's say maybe the magistrate starts to see the truth, because they would always make me sit outside and they would be inside saying whatever to the magistrate. Whenever I was called in, the magistrate already had whatever things about me and he wouldn't give me a chance. So when they saw that I found a way for the magistrate to hear me, by the next time I come back, it's a different magistrate. Again, they make me sit outside. They do whatever. So it's a cycle that's been happening until I found myself being depressed, and I was now looking for the court manager. They hit the court manager for me for 4 years. I couldn't. Every time I'd go there, they're like, what do you want? I'm like, no, I want to report what? Every time I tried to tell them what is it that I wanted to report, they wanted to send me to the very same
person you want to complain about.
So whenever they did that, with God's grace, we finally found the court manager in the 4th year. When we did the court manager, I was like, we apologize that we failed you. What is it that you want? I told her, according to us, the case was closed. Behind our backs, I don't know how they did it, they reopened it. Now it's a different magistrate. This different magistrate, the first court appearance, she was like, Granny, this guy, the rights, everything are reserved for him. Now she finally now decided to come with she finally decided to hire a lawyer now. Now the lawyer, when they're there, I know it's fine. Again, when we are being dismissed, they stayed. And I told my brother, I told everyone, I was like, the saga is going to continue. When I went back, it was a different story. Now I'm being accused of denying her access. She disappeared for 4 years. Now, I said to the magistrate, these are serious allegations. It means I'm in contempt of the order, which means I should be penalized or I should be arrested or something. So if she's saying what she's saying, can she produce proof? I looked at them, they looked aside, they looked up, they were
So
just...
it's word of mouth.
You know?
Okay, wait. I want us to talk about the video.
Okay.
Yeah, let's get to the video. There's a video that you sent to us, which I believe you also posted on social media.
Yes.
Yes. Tell us about that day. What happened on that day?
I think this is the best
Oh,
person.
because he was the one who was screaming in the video.
Yes, my brother.
I told my brother, he was sleeping when I went to him. I was like to him, Ndwana, naba labantu sebafikile. He was like, Ndwana, swayeka, Ndwana, ngifuna ukulala. Ngithi, hey, vuka. We are going to these people. And then he didn't want to wake up. And then I said to him, if you don't want to wake up, I'll go by myself. And then I went. And then when I went out, and then he started following me. And then that's when I told them what I need to tell them. Because what hurts the most is that I'm working with this guy, he's my brother, and whatever he does, I do it with him. We in fashion, we in music, there's other projects that we're doing, and I'm working with him. So they thinking that they're punishing him or torturing him, they're killing me as well.
Yeah.
So I can't take it anymore. It's too much.
Okay, for those who didn't watch the video,
Yes.
just narrate to us what actually happened on that day.
What happened on that day, they came to serve him.
Okay.
And then that's when I flipped. I said,
What
you know
were
what?
they serving him with?
They wanted him to come to, I think, Fox Street to this other social workers. They are social workers. Okay. And then when I just saw them, I started boiling because enough is enough. Every year, there's policemen coming in and, people literally think that there's something that we're doing that's inappropriate. And then that's when, Mina personally, I cannot accept it anymore.
Yeah.
So to tell the people out there, it's that we've been deeply hurt but not discouraged. We've been taking punches for 8 years, and then now we are saying enough is enough and the truth must be told. That's the reason why I said to the lady, we were supposed to be together as a family and fighting against the people who did whatsoever they did. But when are you busy fighting with us? Now it's high time that people must know that your daughter died in your church and you did nothing about it. And it's the 8th year. And every time when people ask you about that, you always say it's under investigation. And then now we at a point at no return that we cannot hold back the truth, because the more we hold back the truth, it's like we're taking more punches, and people will say, but you guys are dying, why aren't you talking? That's the reason now we just want to talk, and there's a lot of people who are going to be helped by our story.
Yeah.
So that's why this story is so personal to me, because I do everything with Andile, and what they do to Andile, it hurts us the most. Kakhulu mina. We've been cooking music since, I don't know, we have over 10,000 songs. That's over 10,000 songs. That's what we have. And with me, I play 7 instruments. And what killed me the most is that I'm excelling in whatsoever that I'm doing, but I cannot express myself. By now, I went through depression. There was a time where I wanted just to end my life because I didn't see any significance. What's the purpose of me living? And at the end of the day, if I did that, I would give them the crown that they wanted. So that's when we had to fight, Kakulu. But in short, it's that these people, they pushed us. I'm a very humble person. But if you push me to that extent and then I lose it, and when I lose it, I cannot make any alterations or say for
Your reaction.
Yes, there's something I always tell Andile, which Andile, you do not have to be afraid. You're not a criminal. And if you run away, that means you're guilty. Let's face these people. The world must know what has been happening to you, because in short, our system failed us. Ama social workers failile. We have ama tape, ama magistrates. akhuluma some bad things, and we have recordings about the social worker. When the time is right, we'll share those things with you. So we wish abantu ukuthi bazwele ukuthi tina as abobaba sitreatiwa kanjani, and then what we are asking for, it's that let's try to balance the scale. If umuntu akwenze kabi, akaxolise. And then we try to fix it. But if you know what you are within the wrong side, do not put umlilo phezu komlilo. As labantu laba, in short, ulolo sonke besimthanda. But what hurts me the most, it's that she's not even willing to fight for her daughter. That's why me, personally, I was close to Lolo. And I am the one who's been fighting with my brother. I've been fighting with him. With Andile, let's do something for Lolo. Lolo used to fight for us. Lolo used to do things that it was 2016. As a surprise to me, said, you know what, Ayanda, we're taking you to Durban. What? Ayanda, you said Durban. For my first time, I went to Durban, it was Lolo. And then we are hamba ngendlela ahambe ngayo emhlabeni, and we're doing nothing about it. That's being selfish and unfair. Me, personally, as long as I breathe, I will take this, because it's over nenkinga with this boy. This boy will ask us, you claiming that you love Lolo, but what did you do for him? And then I want to tell him, that's why I'm still standing. So that's the spirit we have.
Yeah.
And then to also add on what Andrew is saying, these people made sure that anything that was positively affecting us, they take it. The one thing that they knew, if they cut us on the knees, they were going to get us, was the business. So the more people saw police coming in and out, the altercations and whatnot, we started now locking the gate. So our clients would come and, Tina, we are depressed in the house. We did not want to be with these people. I mean, with our clients too. And then that to them was a huge victory. That's why we found ourselves now begging, trying to get pro bono. And the sad thing about pro bono cases, today you have a good lawyer. Tomorrow when you come back, it's another one.
Somebody else.
And that other one is not as that
well
other
informed,
one,
yeah.
You know? And the sad thing is that your case will never end. That's why we ended up reading and whatnot. And what's sad now is that the skills that we have, the projects that we have. When I was telling Mamaga Lento, the Anonymous. Anonymous is the person that actually reached out and made sure Uguti we get your contacts. You understand? Because when we took out the story, people were just saying, oh, sorry guys, all this. But with God's grace, I check my WhatsApp and then I see this message, hi, I cannot tell you who I am. However, I would like to assist you. And as if it's okay if I share your story. I was like, you know what, this is God talking and I will follow. And by so doing, like, we're here. And apart from that, the part that hurts the most is that we have the best of the best things. Like I said, the project and all that. When we go to the banks, when we go to investors, they'll tell you about financial
year plan.
How do I show you my financial year plan when I had to be my lawyer, when I had to be my therapist, how do I do that? Because I kid you not, what we have is amazing. These pens I'm wearing, we did them. And the sad truth is that the last time we properly did our job, it was when the year on 2017 when my woman passed away. That was the last time we were really, really working. Like this gene is like a living testament to show what our stuff is solid, but now the world, because these people wanted to kill us. What he's talking about, secretly I was going through it. I wanted to end my life. I wanted to, but that's why I always say to my son, if it wasn't for you, you saved me. Because there were many occasions where he would find me in a corner, ready to just say, you know what, I'm done. And a 3-year-old pulling this big man and putting him on the couch, wiping his tears, and then giving him a joystick and say, play with me, and then he sits, and then he gives you a kiss, and then he hugs you. Like that intelligence, and then they calling him slow. And then now, not only that, when he's supposed to be excelling, he's being attacked constantly by social workers, by a teacher, by people who are supposed to be protecting him. So that the hurtful thing is that if Children's Act is protecting the very perpetrator instead of the child, the innocent child, that's why I say, Mr. Lewis deserves his roses. He stood for my child. Speech and therapy, Uleris for what she did for us, like respect. ulento unene.
Uneli naye ngomkhohlwa.
Yes, unelisiwe, like what for her to asifake lapha, it was like she said to me, I understand what you're going through about your child. So for God to use people, you know, for Anonymous to touch us, for everyone who participated in our journey, like after being called crazy and being in that psychological thing, we started to look at people that are losing, like guys who grew up with, who have bipolar and whatnot. We got to understand that we are scared of them, but we do not understand that these people, their minds are actually attacking them. They do not know what's happening. We started now having compassion. Ayanda has this, he's our friend. This guy, no one wants him. He'll come, he'll yell, and Ayanda will come, he'll ask for food, he'll ask for whatever. And everyone, whenever we are with him, they will look at us funny. And what they don't understand is that growing up in Orlando, we saw all kinds of characters, from guys who drink, chibukus, so we grew up around that. My father did not discriminate. My mother did not discriminate. My grandfather would actually let people who did not have indawo yokulala and say, you know what, you sleep on the floor, give this man your bed. So we grew up like that. And then whenever like people would, you know, judge us, like it used to faze us, but now it doesn't, because it's what we supposed to do. That's why I'm saying the projects, because of, like, they took everything, but you see, you can delay a process, but what God, I beg you for, when it's going to be there. And they try to derail us, but this time we're just saying enough is enough, because we have this beautiful soul who believes in us. We have umama. If it wasn't for our mom, I kid you not, we would, I don't know what maybe spare mama drugs.
You know, my brother, this is me. These are my parting words. After this, you're going to do your parting words and then you wrap it up. I feel that I need to share with you that you should never, ever give up on your child, because at the end of the day, the child's well-being comes first. You are hearing this from someone who does not have a mom, but who has a dad. My dad is, like, literally, when I talk about my dad, I cry all the time, you know. My dad is my hero, you know, and the reason why he's my hero is because he fought for all his children after his mom passed. So no matter what you do not give up on your child. For as long as the well-being of the child comes first. There are many people that after my mom passed wanted to take us away from my dad and wanted to create, even today, my dad, today is his last day at work. I'm so emotional because I can relate so much to your story, you know. Today is his last day at work. That man fought. He fought for his kids to go to school, for his kids to be independent, for his kids to be what they are today. The last born at home, I'm so sorry to make it about myself. No. The last born was a year, 6 months when my mom died. Family members wanted to take the child, but my dad refused. That man, that skinny man, he 10 toes down, stood and fought for his kids. And the results of all of that, my mom died in 2005. It's 2025 now. 20 years later, all I can say is look at me now. You know, this is what your child is going to be sitting somewhere someday saying, after everything that my dad has done and everybody else that has been supporting my dad, look at me now. You are compiling a testimony for your child right now. That's what you're doing. So I want you to be encouraged. I want you to lift your head up high and continue fighting until your very last breath. In closing, what would you like to see happening, and what is the situation right now with your child?
Firstly, what I'd like to see is just justice, is the investigation from Protea Court. There is proof on whatever magistrate, and social development, them hiding, harboring their social workers. There has to be serious, investigations. Pro bono, the way they dumped me because of, I don't know what, because I was told that we are closing your case because you're disrespectful to the what's this?
Grandmother of the child.
To the attorney that they gave me. And the truth is, the lady only spoke to the senior magistrate and the magistrate that I wanted to be recused. When she came back, she was singing a different tune. And then after that, I get dumped by pro bono, the guys that were helping me. So we are broken to a point whereby we cannot fight anymore, and then we are deemed not worthy is not the word I'm looking for. not fit to raise our children. I don't know what kept me going, but I know that immediately when I was down and out, when I was on my knees, if it wasn't for me just admitting and mending my things with God and doing what I had to do, and having him in my life was just amazing. But more than anything, if justice can be done, and if also, like I'm saying to you, Guti, with all this talent, because we've done like things like training people in terms of work because we have a factory. But how do I do that when I don't have resources?
Yeah.
How do I save? Because we always must hamba. This one is also on drugs. But Mina no Ayanda, when we sit with these guys that are being rejected, we get to the root to what pushed you. So if we do this, can you? And then all of them, they say, I'm fine, I'll clean my act. I want to, I just don't get the opportunity. So we have this ability, but because of the past, we have to suffer now. Yeah. When we need the assistance, when we need whatever. Even like I'm saying to you with the departments, I was even told by one magistrate that, do you want the child because of grant money? Those are the things that are thrown at us. It's meant to them, they don't laugh. So in closing, I'd say it's not that I hate my my mother-in-law. The problem is, what she needs to understand is that my son needs to know that raising children, it's not a woman's job. Yeah. It's also
it's a parent's job, meaning male or female.
I mean, my woman made me uguti kimshintshe. When I took him, I was still on nappies. You understand? And teaching him potty training, washing blankets, the frustration and convincing him. I've been there. I've been there. Sick, family, we've done it all. Yeah. And it's not uguti women or men. We are all going through this because I know women who are getting a raw deal in courts because probably they don't have money or they stepped on, because the biggest criminals in court, the biggest mafias in courts are social workers. Whatever you do not step on their toes. I was telling my other boy, Uguchi, the same social worker that destroyed my life, make sure that you smile, agree. And he agreed, he has his child. He agreed to the terms. But how many people must agree to what they don't want? Because we come there for help. We come there for the best interest. But at the end of the day, it's about who is. I'm not saying, Guti, I'm assuming, no one would risk anything without any reward. It's clear. There are new amendments that are there, but these new amendments, they won't be implemented because they're going to make sure that no one gets the rewards, no one gets whatever. So it's things that the government, yes, you do the amendments, but who is there to enforce them? So if the government can also look into that and also consider us, because you look at Section 19 of the Children's Act, just for being a woman, you're already deemed, a parent. As for us to be deemed parents, we have to pay.
Sure.
In Tlaulo, Section 21. So why is it supposed to be like that? So you mean like a simple Joe out there, if it does not have that money, he is not going to be part of Mtan.
And also now when you're not present as a father, we still complain.
And last but not least, the sad truth is that most fathers don't run away. If I have a problem with you, punish me with my child, you say whatever to the child, and then the child grows up with that. We want to be there. Most of us grow up with this thing, a happy nuclear family. We want to be there. But because of the expectations, what you guys expect us to do, you cannot compare me to whoever, so and so. We come from different backgrounds.
Yeah.
Give me a chance, support me. I was even telling some other girl, understand us, give us an opportunity, give us whatever. If you want a CEO, usher me to the proper direction of that thing. Look at my strengths. Look at what works for me. If I'm more creative, push me towards creativity. If I'm more technical, push me towards technicality. Yeah. But now if you're going to rip me apart because your friend is getting married with a so-and-so, you are still here. Our time zones are not the same. Trump, I think he was president. Amdala, this guy, who's this guy? Barack, you understand? But it's for the same position, you understand? So it's things that women must kind of learn to tone down. Ngapa, you guys want horoscopes, you must be tall, dark. Like all these things, you guys want, they're just too much.
Hey,
they're just too much.
I know, I think we are all fighting battles, but one battle at a time.
If Nale investigation, you can please mention that as well.
The the investigation. That's the most important. Because I'll tell you the truth. My brother has been telling me about the investigation, but I'm tired of fighting. I've been fighting. So in my head, when he says investigation, I'm seeing myself again in that court, again seeing the injustices happen. I'm seeing, like, I'm traumatized. Like, I sometimes get happy, but when I see a police van, I get angry until one of my friends that are police bars and come visit us, and then I calm down. But when I see a van, I get just defensive. So these are the things that these people have done to us. They've destroyed us. Now, when my brother says to me investigations, he even said to me, "Dota wena ngathi akade ungamthandi." I love namanje ngisamthanda mama ngathi ngavuka noma bathi bengishadile bengimiyeka bengiyakuye. That's how much ngimthanda ngakhona. But the trauma, like, it's another thing masikhuluma kanje, but when you're in there alone, it's a different story.
You know what? I'm hoping for the best. I'm hoping this time around it will be different, because now you're not fighting your battles alone. You've decided that, here I am. These are my struggles, and anybody who's willing to come and assist can come through and help. Where do the people get you guys on the socials?
Can I tell you something? We got hacked. We lost everything.
Sure.
Nini?
I think it was last year. The guy calls himself Billy White. He just turned our accounts to crypto. He deleted everything. Yes.
We lost everything.
So you haven't started afresh?
We wanted to start.
Okay, so for people who want to order your stuff, because you make,
yes.
Where do you have a specific number or address?
Can we send you that
Yes,
information?
and then we'll put it on the...
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah, can we do that? Because they took everything from your, like, everything. Even like the classical stuff they all gone.
Well, be encouraged, my brother, please. May the Lord renew your strength. May the Lord renew your strength, guys. Never ever get tired, because the word of God says they that wait upon the Lord shall renew their strength. May you never ever get tired. And also know what the battles you are fighting, the more you speak about it, you have conquered. This is the first step of you guys conquering, and I do believe from here, it's all the way up.
Yes. Another thing, also, in these departments that we've mentioned, they are good people.
Yeah.
So we don't want to blanket and say DSD is corrupt. There was one lady from Lapa,
Ndawani, MEC's office.
MEC's office. She was helping us until the regional office asked a favor from that magistrate. I wanted to get recused. That magistrate sent them a false report about me. He said that I'm rude, I'm
verbal abusing social workers.
Verbally abusing social workers, and I'm obstructing the order and stuff. Instead of them confirming and asking for facts, they didn't. What they did was they decided to cut me. They cut all communications with us. So that's the sad truth about, if authority speaks, forget it if you're a minority.
Sure. Yeah. But anyway, we've come to the end of today's episode. I hope this is going to actually not only change other people's lives, encourage fathers to be present and fight for their kids, but also it's going to come with aid for you guys. With that being said, thank you so much, Bazalwane, for joining in. Please do leave a comment down below. If there's any help whatsoever that you can give to our brother and his family, please do reach out. We will really appreciate any kind of help whatsoever that you can, give to us. I shall see you guys on the flip side. I love you. God bless you. Mwah.